It seems innocuous on the surface until you realize its roots back with Edward Bernays and others. Headline, Infowars.com. White House host fashion show as Ebola spreads like AIDS. Well, they're saying it's worse than the AIDS pandemic, the World Health Organization is. CDC compares spread of Ebola to AIDS while White House talks fashion. And the first lady, Michelle Obama, points and tells you what to wear. She also tells you what to eat. Yes, that's her job. The government tells your children what to eat, something worse than what prisoners would eat. The government and the first lady, they tell us we didn't build our business. They tell us that debts going up don't go up. They tell us they don't want our guns. They tell us they want to destroy ISIS when they created them. They tell us that they're liberals when they're fascist control freaks using psychological warfare against us. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, before our shadows are taller than our souls, to get right with God and face the reality that we are under a great deception and under a great tyranny of these scum. And it's time to wake up and say, we break the conditioning. We're no longer under your spell. Doesn't mean you believe what Alex Jones believes. It believes you know there's an agenda, and signing on to what they say to look like and how to dress and what to do and making them your gods will deliver us not into Valhalla, but into Hades. To Trendyville. Let's go ahead and go to the Congress piece put together by Rob Jacobson and David Knight and others. And then, after this film review, we will go back to your phone calls, Isaiah, and others that are patiently holding. I'm Alex Jones, and if you are watching or listening to this transmission, you are the hope, you are the resistance.
Congress, starring Robin Wright and directed by Ari Folman, has just finished a limited U.S. theatrical run and is now available for rental online at places like Amazon and iTunes. Now, when I looked at the trailer, I thought this was going to be a film that really kind of focused on the radical technological changes that are coming as we see many jobs in virtually every industry being replaced by artificial intelligence and robots. Regardless of what industry you're in, whether it's manufacturing or service, or whether you're working at a low-level job or even as a professional, your job will be impacted, if not entirely replaced, by new technology. The Congress explores how this disruptive technology would affect Hollywood, displacing actors, even the animators that eventually move their digital avatars. But the movie takes a much broader look at a future dystopian society where people are essentially enslaved by entertainment, where they live in a virtual existence. The irony is that many people will avoid this movie or not finish it because they don't find it entertaining enough. But that's how close we are to the dystopian future that it looks at. The Congress is a film that echoes an archetypal warning that's been presented by many great artists over many decades, and that is, once we live in a society characterized by fantasy and deception, it opens a door to authoritarian dictatorship. Based loosely on Stanislaw Lem's The Futurological Congress, it stars Robin Wright as herself, as an actress whose decisions have so frustrated the Hollywood machine that they refuse to work with her ever again unless she signs a one-time contract, a one-time fee, where they will capture her entire appearance and personality into a digital model. Now, of course, she will never be allowed to ever work again. This is something that's going to happen in many industries as people, even professionals, work with programmers to create artificial intelligence that is going to take over their job, where they will never, ever work again in their field or area of expertise. The Congress also stars Harvey Keitel as Robin's agent and Danny Houston as Jeff Green, president of a major movie conglomerate, Mirrormount Films. The film begins with Hollywood's next technological leap forward, a completely realistic digital version of an actor or actress that makes it look like the actor is in the film. And of course, they've used this in a lot of action science fiction films to replace actors in very dangerous or impossible sequences. The sphere of lights and camera that are shown in the film capturing Robin Wright's image is an actual device that's already been used. But once they go beyond the distant shots or the small action shots and go to actual virtual actors, that's something that's going to change not only the process of filmmaking, but movies in general. And this is where the Congress really gets interesting. After they flesh out the concept of virtual actors, the film jumps 20 years into the future. And ironically, even though Robin Wright was very reluctant to be a part of this digital reality, she is the last remaining major Hollywood star that actually has a real-life person attached to them. So she's sent to the Futurist Congress. And so she's selected to be a part of the Futurist Conference, where they're going to announce the next big step forward, inhaling an actor's genetic code, creating a controlled hallucination of the actress or movie, completely controlled by the unconscious. This Futurist Conference, this Congress, is really where the live acting ends, and pretty much most of the rest of the movie is animated. Now, the animation style is kind of a combination of classic animation and modern techniques, but it is filled with provocative subliminal sexual references, almost as if they're kind of making fun of the way Madison Avenue and the Hollywood studios like Disney have done this in the past. At the Congress, the president of Mirmount Films reveals the actual plan: the complete corporate control of all human thought via pharmaceutical technologies. For those who attend the Congress, the hallucinations never end because they put the pharmaceuticals in the drinking water. An announcer romanticizes what he portrays as a utopian future, where you can be whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, where you have everything in abundance. But of course, it's simply an illusion. And if you're a dissenter or if you're defiant in any way, you will be eliminated. And why should the roller coaster stop here? Wright's characters then moved 70 years into this future, a world divided by those who are part of the mass hallucination world and those who opted to live life in reality. While this part of the movie might seem like pure science fiction, look again. The world that's being illustrated here is one that's been described by top futurists for many decades now. Aldous Huxley famously predicted a world where people learn to love their servitude to the state through psychotropic and behavior-controlling drugs.
It is possible to make people contented with their servitude. I think this can be done. I think it has been done in the past, but I think it could be done even more effectively now, because you can provide them with bread and circuses, and you can provide them with endless amounts of distractions and propaganda.
One look at the psychiatric drug industry in America, and it will be obvious that for millions of people, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World is a functioning part of their everyday lives. Heavily influenced by Huxley, the reality portrayed by George Lucas in THX 1138 shows every move and emotion of an ordinary man or woman is controlled and regulated pharmaceutically. Ray Kurzweil believes that you'll be able to upload your personality, your consciousness to a computer. Once there, you'll be able to do anything you want, even talk to people who are long deceased. And of course, in Ray Kurzweil's case, he thinks he's going to be able to talk to his father who died decades ago. At one of the most powerful points in the film, Robin Wright exits the hallucinogenic animation and she finds herself in the real world, where people are just roaming around in this gray, grim reality like inmates in an asylum, because they really only exist in an entertainment coma. And so the question the Congress presents to us is, will people be willing to live in an entertainment utopia, but where they're actually enslaved by technology? You know, technology is just a tool. It can be used for good or for evil. And Eisenhower warned us about this with the military-industrial complex, saying that it would take over research, that it would take over technology and use it for its own purposes. We've seen this happening as technology accelerates. It's increasingly being used for destruction and for distraction, not for production. It's being used to enslave us, not to serve us. The Congress could wake up some people about our obsession with entertainment, if only it were more entertaining. For InfoWars Nightly News, I'm David Knight.
That's right. That's from last night's InfoWars Nightly News, every night, 7 o'clock Central, InfoWarsNews.com. Now, I agree with his review overall, and it's a complex film. I'd give it on the Paul Revere scale that we should bring back to the movie reviews of 1 to 5 horses. I would give it 5 horses for concept. For execution, I'd give it 2.5. They lay out what Bill Joy and others have written about is the actual plan to slowly get us with the iPhones, the apps, then the glasses, then the contacts, then the implants. Oh, it's so trendy. Then the full augmentation. And then you're just told by the hype machine that, oh, they live forever now. They're in the machine. And it can mimic who you were enough to fool people. As if the elite would actually let you merge with some type of technological computer that could challenge them. They're not going to allow anybody into this but themselves. And they even discuss the battle they're going to have as the super being forms. Now, I don't mean that's really going to happen. Before the New York Times says that I'm saying that, I'm saying what Kurzweil and Google and all the rest of them are up to, and Peter Thiel in his quest for immortality that was in the London Guardian last week. I'll talk about this 20 years ago, 18 years ago. People really thought I was nuts because it was only in MIT publications then. Now they're creating the pop version of this to sell it to everyone. But I think the makers of this were really trying to help people. The film starts with her trying to get medical help for her son who is going to go blind and lose other senses from a brain disorder. And then it turns out at the end, the very scientist in L.A. that was helping her son, and that she went and sold her identity to Hollywood for to get the money, ends up being totally, upset and depressed, basically discussing suicide up in one of his government observation blimps that they spray chemicals on people with, saying, we thought it would help people. It destroyed everybody. The drugs got stronger and stronger until now 98% of people are in this false reality, and the rest of us are just here looking at the wrecked, ruined world. But it also gets into other areas that weren't really mentioned in the review. They're not just going to get rid of the actors or be able to copy their voice in facsimile and then type in whatever message they want through those icons. Further continuing the process of removing humans from any type of not just manufacturing, but the arts as well. The synthetic system. The writers all go along with it because they're sick of the actresses and actors putting their own stamp on it or trying to change it, which happens constantly in Hollywood. So they're for it at first, but then later they are replaced. Well, let me tell you something. The CIA about 30 years ago began working on programs that were declassified 3 years ago because they were going mainline, where you can put the basic data you want into the computer word processor, and then it writes it and spits it out with different versions to create the illusion that different people are writing it. So you can put one message out, but have it rewritten 200 different times to be put in newspapers and publications with fake names. Well, there's Wired Magazine, as I said 2 years ago. Can an algorithm write a better news story than a human reporter? And it goes on to say that the CIA developed it. Well, that was 2 years ago. This year, 2014, it rolled out, and many of the stories you do read are now written by a CIA robot. There's another one. Professor, 90% of news stories to be written by computers by 2030. No, it's already going on. Kind of like they said by 2030, all the aircraft will be robot. Now it's 2020. They always give you a larger date on record than a psych warfare profile I read in the British Ministry of Defense document. But you can see it everywhere. See, they're only using systems to cheat us. A real human would show you the tricks and try to empower you to transcend base manipulation, like you want to teach a 5-year-old not to be scared of boogeyman under the couch. But in this artificial arrested development system, the elite themselves are arresting themselves by trying to not accelerate the rest of humanity. There is a continual feedback loop between all sentient Homo sapiens sapiens that has been documented beyond the sixth sense. You could call it karma, reap what you sow, whatever. What comes around goes around. And that is the great folly of the current global elite, is they do have high intelligence, but it's more mathematical or psychopathic. The only humanity to them is that they do have some lust for death and destruction, but I wouldn't even call that human. It's more of a mutated version of that, but they believe they only look 1 or 2 steps down. Or they can look hundreds of steps down if it's to dominate and control something, but they won't ever look on how those steps affect them. Some of the smarter ones will say, oh, I know it affects me, but I like doing this. It's so much fun. And those are the really bad ones who will even tell you they know they're probably going to blow the planet up, but say that will be my work of art. I did a piece, secret Homeland Security document revealed or video revealed. I don't remember the exact name of it. It's the one where I'm the devil. Ask do the name of it. And it didn't go particularly viral. Got a few 100,000 views on YouTube. Millions saw it here and heard it. And people got deeply disturbed by it. Because I put a big iron skull helmet on in black and really talked like the devil really would to his son, the Antichrist. And it's kind of a modern take on the Screw Tape Letters, a C.S. Lewis book. Short story, I guess you could call it. Not really a short story, but it's not that long of a book. I remember reading it when I was about 12. I'm really trying to give you a mind's eye view into how these guys operate. Here, let me look for it. I bet I can find it. So I don't expect you guys to be able to find something if I can't even think of the name of it. And people got really freaked out by it because it's like, man, Alex must be evil because he can act like that. No, I was using my intellectual mimicry of something I've composited of archetypes of evil, trying to warn you, not trying to be flashy that I could be scary and be dark. I mean, that's the thing. I could do pieces that would really wake people up, comedy pieces, dark satire pieces, but the public is so dumbed down, not even so much my audience, but a portion of the audience that's new or doesn't get it, that it's just too disturbing for them. When it's only a literary way of trying to get you to think. It's kind of like when I dressed up like the Joker and went out to expose Obama and vaccines. People, because I was acting evil as the Joker, said, he's a good guy. How could Alex be the Joker and be so scary and come off scarier than the Joker and Batman? Don't you get it? Real evil would sit up there and act nice and would never dress up like the Joker. It would come up in the yellow Volkswagen non-threatening like Ted Bundy. Like I said, Dew will know the name or McBreen will. So that's the only way to get it. I can run over there, or one of those guys can. We'll try to give you the name of it when we come back, take a few phone calls. Infowars.com, prisonplanet.tv, or the websites. Stay with us. We are on the march. The empire is on the run. Here come the Daleks of Homeland Security, bringing in the Ebola. Yeah, the name of the video was Secret DHS Training Video Leaked. I think we're going to re-upload this, or maybe play it on the nightly news tonight, because evil tries to act all trendy and friendly with different color socks, like Mr. Rogers. But really, if you could look into its heart from my research, this is more what the devil would actually sound like. And here's the video.
Director of Homeland Security welcomes you to the federal family. And now a message from the Shadow Director of Homeland Security.
My servant's work on Earth is progressing well. I shall now make contact from Hades to Earth. My son. Alas, you are here. Oh, beautiful death, might we pull down the mountains and poison the streams? Might 1 trillion children be aborted? Might our minions continue to believe that they will achieve godhood? And might we reign over their burnt skeletons for eternity? Might the universe be swallowed up and all creation fall? Hail the New World Order! Hail the globalist! Hail our creation! Hail our transgression! Across the space-time continuum, I feel the vision of death and hell upon Earth. Hades reborn in Black Death. Soon, our armies will be released. and nothing on the planet Earth can stop our forces. World government, Satan's throne is rising. Soon the innocence and beauty that so pains us will be removed, and darkness will reign for eternity.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade.
Just a short little message from Homeland Security.
All of us at the Department of Homeland Security want to welcome you to the team. Please advance to Orientation Module 1138, Demoralization of Targeted North American Population, or Assimilation into the New World Order.
Trendy.
I guess I'm going to do some overdrive so I can get to these callers that have been holding the longest, like Isaiah, and who else has been holding the longest? Tim and Matt, and then I'll try to get to TJ and Eli. We'll just go to break, come back, do a little bit extra calls here. I'm trying to shake people out of their comfort zone. I'm trying to wake people up, and that's the old saying, wake up, wake up. I know you're awake as a general audience, no more than I do in many cases. But it's the general public that tunes through, makes jokes about it all. Well, they tune through because they've heard the show is interesting. And then more times than not, they laugh at first, but later they cry because they find out how serious it is. All right, we're going to go into Overdrive, Infowars.com/show to find the free audio and video feeds, the free podcast, the free iPhone and Droid apps, Infowars.com/show, PrisonPlanet.com is another one of the sites. Please become a PrisonPlanet.tv member to see the nightly news coming up tonight, 7 o'clock Central. Each membership can be used by 11 people. It's $5.95 a month, and your membership helps fund this operation, and it is your free will to do so. We don't force you like the IRS. Toxis, not Texas, but Taxis. Toxis. Wendy Davis, the abortion Barbie, as she's known. Michelle O. ad champions abortion Barbie. Wendy Davis, she wants to give kids a chance to build better lives by being chopped up. So that's an interesting article up at Infowars.com right now. Let's go to your phone calls. Isaiah in California, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, my preacher, Joseph Israel, says that the devil's new world order is going to claim to bring love and peace and unity. So my question is, could the federal government be allowing Ebola and everything to get so bad so they can come in and offer world peace?
Yeah, but I mean, a whole bunch of crises. I don't know if this Ebola is going to be the big one, but definitely they're gearing up towards that. Good to hear from you. Thanks for holding. Tim in Florida, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, Alex?
Good, brother.
Just wanted to say, as far as like a waterfront of issues kind of thing, this Ebola stuff really concerns me only because, like you've said so well, that it can't be controlled. It's something that they just kind of let loose on the population. So that's kind of what concerns me the most about it. But I really wanted to get your take, and I wish I was on when Doug was on, but I wanted to ask about what you think about the free man movement, the free man on the land, the sovereignty idea.
I think that's very legitimate as long as they don't engage in their own pseudo paperwork filing. And I'm all for pro se, and there's a lot of truth to it. It's just there's also a lot of people making up stuff that doesn't actually work in court under those names. So I'm saying it's very legitimate overall. Very illegitimate, though, because of some of the people involved. So I don't want to just blanket endorse something that'll get folks into trouble.
Absolutely. And then I'll get off after this, but just any suggestions you think that would help progress that movement forward, because I see that as a good solution.
Well, I mean, most of the laws are unconstitutional. They're not applied to politicians, governing class, or the illegals. So I'm not telling you what laws to not follow, but stuff that's not constitutional, it's a duty to not follow tyrannical laws at this point, to live your own life, to have a barter economy, and to stay out of this parasitic system. Because this globalist system is designed to shut down everything and make us dependent. We must build things outside the system so there is an infrastructure for humanity so they can't bring in artificial scarcity writ large, a.k.a. Agenda 21.
Awesome. Thank you so much for you and the crew and
No,
everything.
brother,
you
don't
guys
thank me. Thank the crew. They're amazing. They got to put up with me. Let's talk to TJ, because this stuff on air is not an act. What I do on air, that's going on behind the scenes. TJ in Michigan, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex. This is TJ, and I'm a nurse, retired nurse, and disabled due to 25 years of hard work.
I hear that.
And also am a minister. And I was listening, I've been listening daily, and for a long time. And when I look at governmental things, I see, if you look back at the story of Jezebel and Ahab, you see the spirits of those people in what's happening. The I, me, my, let's control people. I had a family that these two spirits were in and actually has destroyed the
Ahab
family.
and Jezebel. Ahab for men, Jezebel for women. And you do. The biblical stories literally repeat in our families, in government. It's the same story. It is a spirit.
That's right. And the higher up levels are so involved in the occult mystery religion, as Dr. Monteith, I was listening to him today, one of his programs.
God bless him.
That he had made years ago. And it all comes to fruition if you look at what's happening right now. And as far as the Ebola thing, you know, this wouldn't happen back in the early 1980s when I became a nurse. This didn't happen. TB was the big thing, and we took every precaution available to us. I was an ICU nurse that worked with unknown viral etiology. Pneumonia.
Clearly, they're violating the lab rules. They're violating default position. We're starting to see people protest. That's right. We're just a nation of yes men and women, and it's got to stop. Because it'll grease the skids to hell. Thank you so much. Sorry to Matt, Herbert, and Eli. You call me back tomorrow. I'll get you on, Lord willing. Nightly news tonight, 7 o'clock.
Introducing the first proprietary oxygen-based intestinal cleanser, OxyPowder. Backed by real FDA-approved phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials. People are suffering from all kinds of digestive issues these days. All the toxins from the air, the food, the water, ultimately ends up in the gut or affects the gut. My main focus was to come up with a remedy for this, something that's safe and effective that anyone can take on a regular basis to keep their intestinal lining clean. My recommendation is to clean your intestines at least 2 to 3 times a week to prevent the toxic buildup from going into your bloodstream. Take your health into your own hands and start cleansing your body today with OxyPowder. Secure your Oxy powder today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.